I suspect that I am not the father of both my kids. Where to go now? I am posting here because one of my friends suggested me to turn to Reddit for advice and keeping some sort of anonymity. I would like to hear some opinions and listen to what other people think of the situation. I am really new on this website and I may not be familiar on how to use it yet, so apology. Me and my wife have known each other for 6 years and have been married for 4. I am 32 and she is 29, if that matters. Try to be a good parent, but sometimes I am overworked and some other times I just want time off for myself to watch a series or play football with my mates. Sometimes my wife fights me over this absence from family duties, but I need to disconnect to keep sane. I know myself well enough by now. Of course, both my kids have everything they need and we were able to put them to private schools and specialized classes to keep their education going despite the pandemic. We met each other because we were in the same class in our MBA in London, where we were both foreigners in a new country far from home. I have since then started my own business and she works in a large firm in London. It has not always been smooth sailing, but we made it work both financially and we found each other. She understood that many days I could be with her for only a couple of minutes as work was really getting busy and it was a challenge starting a small business ground up. 4 years ago, she got pregnant. We weren't really trying for a kid as we were both overworked, but when it happened I was overjoyed and proposed her. My daughter was not expected or planned, but certainly she was welcomed when she was born. 2 years ago, my son was born. Same as, we weren't really trying as I was overworked and one kid was more than enough, but we welcomed him with open arms. Fast forward to October 2020. We were driving and had a car accident, not our fault. Our youngest was severely injured, so we called an ambulance and got admitted in A&E. As it turns out, they had to run a battery of tests and found that my son has a blood condition, a form of thalassemia, that will eventually need management. They also tested my daughter, as she was injured too, and found the same. Coincidentally, the A&E doctor on shift is one of my closest friends, and he informed me regarding the condition and told me there is nothing in the immediate to worry about. Some symptoms may show up later in their development, but they are manageable, and we got lucky. Long story short, in an abundance of caution, I got both my kids to a specialist. To our relief, we find that there is little chance that any serious problem will arise in the future. However, the doctor recommended us to get our blood tested to understand if we are both carriers of the defective gene, in which case thalassemia could become really bad and we shouldn't have a third child, or if just one of us is, in which case, little to worry about. Yay. Well, I had the blood screen done and I am not a carrier of the genetic disorder. My wife isn't either. I have consulted my doctor friend and he has implied that there is a chance I am not the father, and the actual father is carrying and spreading the defective gene. I could take a paternity test, however my friend told me that in the UK it would be challenging to do so without the explicit consent of the mother of the kids. He has seen similar cases and usually the labs recommend against it at this stage or perform extensive checks prior to it, as the priority is to not disturb family equilibrium. My wife told me that the results were odd and she's sure the labs were mistaken. I have a text of her telling me to drop it, until we are back home and can get the tests done by her family doctor. I am eroded by doubts and part of me wants to know the truth. Another part of me is scared of what I will find. How do I stay strong in this scenario? Should I press the issue or drop it? I see both pros and cons in doing either. This is affecting my private and professional life. On one hand, I tell myself I will be around for them as I am their father regardless of DNA. On the other hand, our family would be destroyed. I know myself and I am an inch from selling everything and going to live on a boat for the rest of my days. Any advice is appreciated, thank you. Update: having seen all your messages, I have decided that I will take my kids and wife for a second round of tests in another lab. I am concerned about my situation, but, introspectively, I am not doing the good of my kids, which should come first. I have a genetic issue and we must be careful and assess the situation as best as we can. I have been told that it's important in any case to know if they have just just one broken gene or two of them, and it's also critical to know who gave the genes to them. This is regardless of the situation we are currently in. If these tests show that both of them are positive for a single gene and me and my wife negative, well, I'll find a way to order a test online like you suggested. I have already booked an appointment for next week. I will not ask my wife to come with me for the test, I will simply tell her. Thank you everyone who spent some moments of their day coming with ideas and suggestions for me. I appreciate. You know those online family finder genetics things, like Ancestry DNA? Buy a kit for yourself and your kid. Submit them, and if you are related it'll tell you smile you probably won't need parental consent from your wife. I don't understand how you don't already know they both carry a thalassemia trait. It is one of the things screened by the heel prick test on day 5. Also they carry out hemoglobinopathy screening when you are pregnant, so your wife should have known her status already. I hate to be that guy, but in a city of almost 9 million people, the doctor on shift at the accident clinic happened to be Op's close friend? ? This one's fake. I mean, I may be the outlier here, but can you get one of the at-home DNA tests and just do it and mail it off? It seems like this isn't something that should be weighing on you, while your wife pushes this off. This isn't really something one can just drop. Working in the medical field myself, yes, sometimes labs mess up, but this would have to be a pretty big oversight. Oh, I didn't know about those tests. We'll check them. This is a good suggestion. Definitively will help put my mind at rest. About the lab messing things up, I don't think this is actually happened. Also have high cholesterolemia and they pick it in the tests. I was tested as a kid to see if I was a genetic carrier of a blood disease and it came out negative. As an adult I got tested again and I came out positive as a carrier. Anomalies in lab tests do happen. Maybe ask your wife to get tested again. Obviously, you need to ask for a paternity test. I just want to add a comment in case this marriage survives. Sometimes my wife fights me over this absence from family duties, but I need to disconnect to keep sane. She needs to disconnect to keep sane too. Do not carry this attitude into the future. You do not get to dump your responsibilities on the mother of your children just because you don't feel like doing it. You do need time for yourself, and that is fine, as long as you give her the same amount of time for herself. Parenthood is hard, deal with it. This is an issue that I had with this whole thing. And then at the end where Op was like, I'm so close to getting rid of everything and going to live on a boat, I was like, I bet your wife feels the same way too, wishing that she could just stop being a parent and be alone again sometimes. Shitty. My 31F boyfriend, 30M, leaves unusual messes in the bathroom. How do I address it? Sorry for formatting, I'm on mobile. Also, this is a throwaway. So I've been with my boyfriend for a little over 2 years after divorcing my ex-husband. The first year or so of dating was very smooth, but we never spent more than a few days at a time with each other. These past 6 months we have been spending a lot of time together. He stayed at my place for about 3 weeks and I stayed at his for 2 weeks, back and forth. I love him to death, but I've noticed something strange about his bathroom habits and it worries me, but I don't want to embarrass him, so I'd like help bringing it up. First of all, he spends about 30 to 90 minutes on the toilet 3 to 5 times a day. Overall I'd say he spends 4 hours a day on the toilet. He watches Netflix and whatever else, fine, but after the toileting he jumps right in the shower. Every day. Then today I was cleaning the bathroom and found poop on the inside of the front part of the toilet seat, where your thighs would be touching, the top of the toilet bowl under the seat, blood at the top of the toilet bowl, and poop on the inside/back of the toilet bowl. Also 2 small poo fingerprints on my shower curtain. Now, I am grossed out. Yes, he is a grown man and should clean up after himself, but I am worried about his health. He is incredibly sensitive to most foods and he has to poo them out 30 minutes after eating, but claims that he is fine and doesn't need to speak to his doctor. I am scared there is something bad going on, due to the blood. his quick digestion, and the sheer amount of poo I found everywhere. How do I bring this up in a way that won't get him defensive and possibly convince him to see a doctor? Please give advice if you can. I don't want to have to keep cleaning poo from my whole bathroom. I found some in a cabinet. WTF? He needs to see a doctor. He's got something wrong with him, and spending that much time on the toilet will give him piles as well. This is a fully grown ass man. I don't think you should sugarcoat it. He is 30 and smeared shit and blood all over your bathroom. I mean, come the fuck on. I'm a nurse. We are taught blood from any orifice is a very troubling sign. Whatever method you choose to bring this up is your choice, but IT needs to be talked about pronto. Get that man to the doctor, please. Best case scenario, it's hemorrhoids from sitting on the toilet so long every day. Worst cases with his other symptoms are Crohn's or cancer. Even if he has Crohn's or something that could cause long periods of time in the bathroom regularly, there's zero rational reason that he should get shit all over the place, especially his hands. And he should see a doctor regardless. They can help with Crohn's symptoms. If there is blood, he needs to seek medical attention, period. From the sounds of it, he has severe constipation or similar and is having to resort to digital assistance to expel his business. Blood may be fissures or even a sign of bowel cancer. There are way too many potential causes. Hey honey, I was cleaning the bathroom and found some poop in a couple places and blood in the toilet. Can we talk about your health and also how we can keep this from happening again? I wouldn't bring it up if I wasn't really worried about you. Yes, that is a concern. There can be a million causes for this, and I am not a doctor, but I experienced gallstones that made it feel like I had to go to the bathroom right after eating. I would spend a lot of time in the bathroom, and had blood in my stool as well. It's possible he has problems with his gallbladder, or literally anything, but the only resolution is going to the doctor. Yes, it's awkward telling a doc that you have bad heartburn and poop blood, but much better to get the problem resolved than keep experiencing it. Too long didn't read. It will be an awkward conversation, but you have to just bring it up. Dude, you're pooping blood to the level that it's still in the toilet bowl. You have to go to the doctor. He needs to clean the toilet first. I have a condition where this occurs, which is why behind me as I type, is a bleach spray as I check and clean the seat and all surrounding areas when it's one of those days. You don't nuke toilets in this way and not be aware of it. He needs a camera up his ass, then a foot. Both of my 16F older brothers, 18M and 22M, realized that they grew up being molested by the same authority figure and are both shattered over it. Let's call my oldest brother, number 1, my second oldest, number 2, and I'll be number 3. It's been the three of us against the world since I was 7. We've been bounced around relatives, slotted in and out of the foster care system. There have been times in our life where the goal of each of us eating 3 meals a day was too unrealistic. So, instead, the alpha and omega goal of our lives is to not be split up. We've lived out of a library and a train station before to avoid being separated into placements that were only going to take boys/girls. Really, it hasn't been all bad. 1 and 2 are my best friends. We each found angles to make a little money here and there. One's actually a talented salesman and has been doing well on commission jobs since he was my age. 2's a musician who teaches lessons and does well when he busks, and I tutor English and edit essays, and I've managed to pick up some hours at the bookstore whose cafe I tutored at, cause all I ever want to do is read lol. We have an apartment now, and I have my own laptop for school. But there's been something lately that kind of rocked us out of our calm. I'm not sure how the conversation started, but 2 confessed to 1 that he had been being molested by an authority figure, let's call him Officer Bad, who promised he wouldn't touch 1 if 2 just submitted to him and kept quiet about it. 1 proceeded to say that Officer Bad had given him the same deal. He'd victimize 1 and leave 2 alone if 1 played along. Understandably, 1 was ready to drive to a state we no longer live in to go commit a murder, and 2 could barely breathe. He was crying so hard. I tried to calm everyone down, and my brothers recognized that and tried to start calming themselves and each other down too. 18 days have passed, and normally the three of us tend to bounce back very quickly from things, since time and time again tears and sulking have caused us nothing but empty stomachs from the lost day's work. But one, and especially two, aren't bouncing back from this one. Two has never been a big talker the way one is, but he's never been standoffish before. One has been staying at work late, and it could be because of the holiday rush or whatever, but he's not really hanging out with me when he's home either. It's kind of like they're both in their own little world, which is really scary to me cause we always jokes that we share one brain cell between us, so it's kind of like having 2/3 of my own mind locked away from me. I've been lurking on this subreddit long enough to know that every other comment is going to be "this is over our pay grade, get therapy, therapy, therapy." I recognize the importance of this, but we're struggling to just pay rent right now, so therapy will happen on that magic someday when our ship comes in. Plus, I am never keen on seeking outside help that may call one's guardianship over me into question. I'm afraid that the powers that be may judge him getting tricked by Officer Bad as a lapse of judgment and take away his right to be my parent. I am not asking, "Hey, give me a crash course psych degree so I can fix my brothers." I'm asking, how the hell can I help even 1%? I've been trying to just focus on my schoolwork, but I can't get this out of my mind.